Our next speaker this morning is Mike Slattery. Mike's speech this morning is a book speech from the Technical Presentations Manual. The length of the speech is 12 to 15 minutes. The speech will be a technical paper presentation from the auto insurance industry. The most misunderstood portion of an auto insurance policy is the uninsured motorist section. Mike will be speaking to other insurance agents, our present audience, about how to understand better the uninsured portion of the policy, uninsured motorist. Please welcome with me our next speaker this morning, Mike Slattery.
2 years ago, a young lady by the name of Kathy was on her way home from work when BAM! She got hit from the side, sideswiped, and ended up on the sidewalk here in Riverside with the front of her car facing and hitting a light post. When the emergency people came, they saw that she had been cut a little bit and she was hurt. Sent her to the hospital. They took care of her at the emergency room and let her go. And then when she came back home a couple of days later, she called her insurance company. She put the claim in. They investigated and found out that the person that hit her had no insurance. So she had a $2,500 hospital bill. So she thought that her insurance company would pay that because she was hit by an uninsured motorist. Well, let me tell you. Because when she bought her policy, the $50 that was costing extra for that portion of her policy, she denied. So she didn't even have uninsured motorists, so guess what? She had to pay the $2,500 bill. As you may or may not know, 1 in every 8 drivers that are out here in California don't have insurance. Or they are underinsured. So what does that mean for the people that want to take responsibility for their own well-being? They have to buy uninsured motorists on their policy. It's an endorsement that the insurance companies give that in the event of what I just told you happens, that hospital bill, including the repair of her vehicle, would have been taken care of at no money, none whatsoever, out of her pocket. So why is that? Let me define for you what an uninsured motorist or an uninsured motor vehicle is. The definition of an uninsured motor vehicle is a key element in this coverage. The lead-in to the definition stipulates that an uninsured motor vehicle has to be a land motor vehicle or a trailer of any type. There are several categories that fall into the uninsured motor vehicle definition. A vehicle with a negligent driver who has no liability policy in force at the time of the accident, and that's what happened with Kathy. A hit-and-run vehicle. The provision states that an uninsured vehicle must hit the named insured or family member, a vehicle they are occupying, or a covered auto in order for the coverage to apply. Not all states, however, apply this physical contact rule strictly. One of them is our state here in California. If you get hit by an automobile who hits and runs, you have to get identification of that vehicle, year, make, and model, license plate, or you must have a witness that did that. Saw that vehicle hit you, came to you and said, this is the car that hit you, and here's the information. You have to give that to your adjuster, and he and then will do the investigation. If you do not do that, you're going to be responsible to pay for the repair of your vehicle and for any bodily injury that had occurred. Period. So, as agents, if you are not telling this to your client when they say, well, I don't want any uninsured motorist, they have to be informed that this is a very important portion of their policy. They don't have to take it because it's not required by the state. But the key is what's going to happen is what happened with Kathy. All right, now the insuring agreement. Uninsured motorist coverage is predicted on the negligence of the uninsured motorist. In other words, if the insured is negligent in an accident with an uninsured motorist, this coverage does not apply. This coverage is quite broad for the named insured and family members insured and an uninsured motorist. Coverage applies if you hit as a pedestrian, if you're hit as a pedestrian, car hits you, you're able to go after the person that hit you, but you're walking down the street, car hits you, he takes off. Who's going to pay for your medical bill? If you're insured on your automobile and you have uninsured motorists, you're covered. And you were walking. You weren't in your car. If you're hit in vehicles that you are occupying, or hit in someone else's vehicle that you are occupying, and the person that hit you has no insurance, and the person whose car you were in has insurance, with uninsured motorists, they have to have that endorsement. Of course, Marie, I'm going to go for a ride with you, and the first thing I'm going to say, Marie, do you have uninsured motorists in your car? Are you insured for that? If not, I'm not going. All right? So the point that I'm making is that it's not that expensive. And I was mentioning the story of Kathy, the gal that got hit. For 6 months, that endorsement was $50, a little bit over $10 a month coverage. She would have been covered for $2,500, plus her vehicle being repaired, right? So for $50, I don't know, $2,500 in medical bills are paid. Uninsured motorists, important. Now, one other thing occurs. If you have an uninsured motorist endorsement on your vehicle, and you are hit by someone who does have insurance, they're covered. They hit you, and the total damage on your vehicle is $20,000. They, on their policy, has the minimum state coverage of 15, 30, and 5. The 5 means $5,000 of property damage. So if they hit you, you take your car to a body shop and the bill is 20 grand, his insurance company or her insurance company is only going to pay 5. Where's that other 15,000 going to come from to fix your car? It's going to come from your pocketbook. If you don't have uninsured motorists or underinsured motorists. If you have that endorsement, then your insurance company will pay the difference. And what they will do, your insurance company is going to pay that additional $15,000. And what they're going to do is they have a whole department. It's going to be calling the person that's hitting you and say, hey, we just paid 15 grand to the person you hit. We are suing you for that money. Please pay us back. Don't get me wrong. Might take a long time, and I'm going to speak of a personal thing that happened to me 7 or 8 years ago. I got hit, same situation, $5,000 on the person that hit me's policy. My damage came to $12,000 on my car. Farmers paid the difference. My insurance company, I'm sorry, didn't mean to advertise. Didn't mean to advertise. My company paid the difference, and then they went after the insured. When my company paid the difference, because I went through my company, I had to pay my deductible, which was $500. They kept calling this individual to pay that money. 3 years later, the bill was paid. I got my $500 back. So, this is what uninsured motorists is such an important part. So when you think, gee, I've got a car, it's a 1974 Ford F-150 pickup truck, I own it, and it doesn't matter, car's only worth $2,000. So I'm just going to get the state minimum on it. And then you get hit and you're injured. And you did not buy that uninsured motorist endorsement. Who's going to pay the hospital bill? So that becomes very important. Now, sometimes it gets complicated. Sometimes there's disputes between the insurance companies and whether they're going to pay that endorsement. I'm going to give you an example. Differentiating between a reasonable and an unreasonable construction of the policy wording is not easy. Now, I know when you go to buy insurance for your car, you don't say, here, give me a copy of that contract so I can take it to Bob Anderson and let him read it, and I'll pay him whatever it is for his time, and then he can tell me whether it's a good contract or not. We don't do that. We take the trust of the individual we're buying from. So, here's the example. In Matthews versus Penn American Insurance Company, the insurer, that's the company, issued a personal auto policy to the boyfriend of the plaintiff's mother. Oh my goodness. That must have been the mother saying she's still upset. And let me finish the story. All three of them had lived together for several years. They thought of themselves as a family unit and shared common expenses to run the household. The plaintiff was seriously injured in an auto accident and sought uninsured motorist coverage under his mother's boyfriend's policy. The policy insured the policyholder, boyfriend, and any other member of his, quote, family who is a resident of the household. The policy did not specifically define the term family. One judge thought that the word family could have more than one reasonable meaning. It could mean any person in the household related by blood, marriage, or otherwise by law. If that was the meaning the court used, then the plaintiff would not qualify since he was not a policy's biological son. His mother was not married to the policyholder, and the thought it was reasonable to read the word family as alternatively meaning a stable social group whose members maintain family relationships. The judge thought that the court should adopt this broader meaning because it favored coverage for the plaintiff so he could get the money. The other two judges disagreed. They did not think it was reasonable to read the word family so broadly as to include any member of the group of the unrelated people living together. They thought open up policy coverage was beyond the range of traditional nuclear families, father, mother, married to each other, and biological children. Although the policy did not define the word family, these other two judges decided that it did not meet the definition of them and ruled in favor of the insurance company. Madam Toastmaster.